Hey, Bogdan Brzeski here. Welcome to another video where we make algebra easy just for you. In this video, we'll be going over factoring polynomials by grouping, a strategy that is very important for you to learn. So let's go and begin right now. So by grouping in simplified ways is about recognizing that your expression can be transform into usually two groups. You will have most of the time, you will have like four terms. If you have six terms, you can do three and three. With four terms, two groups of two. And then you identify common factor for each group. Then you factor that common factor. And then you have a new binomial created in the process that becomes identical for both parts. Then you extract that again and you have it and you have to verify. So everything you learn, you must verify. You always review steps. You start with the process. Verification is a key in any learning. So let's dive into this beautiful example that you see on the screen. So this polynomial, which consists of four terms, is the question. The degree of that is 3, so we can call it a cubic polynomial. And our goal is to factor it by grouping. So two groups were created, group 1 and group 2. So there's no like a one way of grouping it. You can see that in the next example where I did in two different ways and we achieved the same results. So in this particular questions, we grouped, as I said, group 1 and group 2. And then for each group, we'll recognize what is the common factor. So the greatest common factor is x squared because you can divide it x cubed by x squared, and you can divide it x squared by x squared. The second common factor for the other group is just coefficient 2 because you can divide 2 by 2 and 6 is divisible by 2. So let's proceed to the next line. So x squared is a new factor and you have x minus 3 left over. When you factor group number 2, the one above, you'll just see the 2 is the greatest common factor and what is left inside is x minus 3. And this is the point for you to make note that you get the same binomial x minus 3 here and the same binomial x minus 3 again. So that tells you you're on the right track. So now x minus 3 is a common factor which you take out from both and you bring x squared and 2 inside of second bracket. So that completes this nice example factoring by grouping. So hopefully this makes sense. You obviously can rewatch this video as many times as you want to get the idea down pat. And we always check our work. Why this is important? When you have your test, when you have your exam, quiz, what have you, you don't want to hope for the best. You will know that your work is done correctly. So by simply multiplying it using distributive law, you can quickly verify whether this question is correctly done. If not, you will have to fix it. So x times x squared will be multiplying, then x times 2, and then we'll multiply negative 3 times x squared and negative 3 times 2. So this step shows that sort of extra step, which doesn't hurt. It tells you what was happening in each with each product so that you can follow and control what was done. So x times x squared, I put in brackets so that it signifies that we multiply. X times 2, and I always add when I collect terms. That's my strategy so that I don't mess up with signs. So I multiply negative 3 times x squared, and I say I add that, and later the sign will be adjusted. and then negative 3 times positive 2. So when you follow the process, you have 1x cubed term, 2x, negative 3x squared, and negative 6, right? And this is exactly, after you organize it in descending order, it's exactly the question that we had in the first place. So therefore, check mark, question is done correctly. So hopefully this makes sense. Let's proceed to the next example. So in this example, we have a polynomial with 4 terms again, but with 2 variables included. So the first strategy is to divide in 2 groups in this particular order, and down below you will see another way of grouping terms. So when you combine 4xy and negative y squared, the only common factor will be y, right? When you combine 12x minus 3y into a second group, the only common factor will be number 3. So by factoring each group, we have 4x minus y left inside, and then the same 4x minus y binomial happens to appear with the second group when we did complete factoring. So this tells you that you're on the right track because you did create the same common factor in the process. So once you extract this, you put inside 3 and y from whatever is left, and this completes the question, right? So let's say that if I were to do this same question and group slightly differently, so you do the first term combined with the second, with the third, common denominator, no, common factor, I'm sorry. So this is 4 and 12, they share something. So 4 is the one that you're going to extract. And you have xy term and x, so variable x. So 4x is a common factor. And when you divide each term by 4x, you get y from the first one, and then you get 3 from the second part. So the second group marked in blue consists of negative y squared and negative 3y. So you can take out the negative y as a common factor. So that is why you put minus y. And then you have, in the process of division, y left over from that part and number 3. So again, in the process, we did achieve a beautiful thing, which is the same binomial. Different than in the first method, but as long as we have the same, we are on the right track. So y plus 3 common factor, and then goes 4x and minus y. You drop it, bingo. So you may say, is this equivalent? Y plus 3 times 4x minus y with this one? Yes, it is, because according to algebra rule, the rule when you multiply is that you can change the operation order, the order in which factors are appearing. So 4x minus y is first here, 3 plus y. You have y plus 3, which is the same as 3 plus y, times 4x minus 1. So if you were to check either one, you would expand it, multiply it, and simplify. You must get the original question. So we always check our work. That's the secret weapon that you're learning. Always verify. So you multiply 4x times 3, you multiply 4x times y, negative 3 times negative y times 3, and negative y times y. So this is sort of the line that shows that extra work, which doesn't hurt to show initially as you're learning. When you have your skills down pat, you don't need to show it, but it is for your own benefit. I prefer to see the steps so that I can trace back any problems, any mistakes. So 4x times 3, 4x times y. Then my method is to add and then deal with the adjustment of the sign. So negative y times 3 and add, because I'm collecting, so I'm adding negative y times y. So we have 12x, because we understand y, multiplication, 4xy, again, multiplication, negative 3y this time, because multiplication positive negative, and negative y squared, because again, of the product positive y, negative y. And as you group this and simplify in alphanumerical order, you will see that this is exactly the same polynomial as we had in this example. So after check is done, you can compare degrees and terms. If everything matches, you say, bingo, I'm done. I know this question was done right. So hopefully this video was very helpful for you. Don't forget to share it and place comments down below. But before we go, practice questions is a must. As you know, you can only learn when you implement your skills. So continue practicing, ask questions, and we'll see you in the next video. Bye for now.